Hi guys, just wanted to make a quick little video here going over what to expect and what to do first tomorrow, July 6th, when, as I like to say, actual 9.1 drops. While we've had, a little bit of content this last week with 9.1 officially releasing with Korthia and the rep grinds, and I guess the new Torghast, a little bit of content there. We're getting the raid tomorrow, the mega dungeon 10-man ultimate boss dungeon tomorrow, and we are getting more storyline. Flying is going to be unlocked. There's so many things are coming tomorrow. So I just want to go over what should we do first as soon as we log in. And got my little slideshow here. I think the first thing that people should do is Chapter 3 of the Korthian Campaign. You unlock flying. It's going to make getting around Shadowlands a lot faster, more efficient, getting from Mythic plus dungeon to dungeon. And you're going to want to do Mythic plus dungeons eventually, so this will make it easier to get around. Definitely a priority, I would say, for most people is this. Also, and more importantly to a lot of people, you're going to get Renown 45, which is going to unlock new Soulbind nodes, and a lot of those are going to be potency conduits for your main Soulbind. So keep that in mind. I would rush that as soon as possible. You may find with the update there's going to be a lot of lag. You might be getting DC'd. A lot of people trying to do the same content at once. Kind of overloads the server. So, maybe this isn't the first thing you do, but if you can get through it, I would prioritize this because it's going to make everything else you do easier thanks to flying. And also the conduit, it's going to help a lot with DPS going up. So something to keep in mind there. After that, I would go to the veld market immediately. As soon as you get done with the storyline, you get flying, look at going to the veld market. It's a once per week mega dungeon, 10 bosses. You're going to get I-226 gear from the normal mode, which is insane. That is so strong. That is what you're getting from the Great Vault this week. If you did, let's see, Mythic rating, besides obviously the last two bosses, which get 233 gear. But if you did Mythic rating this week, you're going to be getting 226 gear from the Great Vault. If you did M plus 15s, you're going to be getting 226 gear. So those things that you're waiting for the end of the week or in your mythic runs, that once a week kind of thing, you're getting that from the normal mode on a dungeon. So that's going to be fantastic. And if you're good enough and strong enough and geared enough to get into a hard mode dungeon, you can get I-233 gear, which is literally the last two bosses of mythic rating. That is Mythic Sire Denathrius and Mythic SLG. I hated that boss. That is great gear. That is excellent gear. You definitely want to get on that. You're going to get new conduit levels. I believe there's also new conduits in general. I could be wrong on that. From the veld market for certain classes. But more importantly, there are 226 and 233 weapons in that dungeon that you can pick up. There are new trinkets in that dungeon you can pick up. There's a neck piece with an enchant on it, with a special ability on it. There's so many new pieces of gear that you can pick up from the veld market. Highly recommend getting that done as soon as you get done with the main storyline. It's going to make everything else you do a lot easier. Whenever you start going to the raid later on in the night, whenever raid teams start raiding, you're going to have this 226, 233 gear just ready to go. Highly recommend. After that, go to the Sanctum of Domination. Go raid. Go to. I suggest normal mode first. I think, even the top end guilds, even Limit is going to do normal mode this tier because the new domination sockets on gear is such a good DPS increase that those gear pieces from normal are going to make mythic progression a lot easier. Basically, a domination socketed piece is just from a normal sanctum run, right? A normal sanctum domination socketed piece is going to be better than a heroic piece that doesn't have that socket. You want to get that socket at all costs. That is the biggest source of damage increase, power increase, DPS increase that you can get. So getting those, that is how you get those top parses. After you do normal mode, which is going to drop I-226 gear, I-233 from the last two bosses, same as the Veld Dungeon, same as Mythic Castle Nathria gear, you're going to want to try out Heroic mode. I-239 gear, it's a 13 eye level increase. I-246 from the last 2 bosses. If you're getting the last 2 bosses on the first day, that's incredible. Good for you. Welcome to Limit Maximums Guild. But yeah, I really think Sanctum Domination is definitely something you should check out. Look out getting at the AOTC ahead of the curve achievement for killing the final boss, Sylvanas Windrunner. It's going to be great. There's lots of new cinematics in that raid. Great time. Definitely recommend. Get the Domination Sockets, get new weapons, get new trinkets. Also, you're going to be able to farm Stygian Embers from these bosses, which is going to let you upgrade those Domination Sockets to get even more power from those. And while there were some nerfs to the base level of the Domination Sockets recently that dropped their power by around 20%, the 5th and final level of those is actually, it did get nerfed, but it only got nerfed by about 5%, so there hasn't been a huge change in the power levels of the final version. So farming those Stygian Embers to upgrade them is going to be well worth your time. So finally, actually not finally, second to last, we have Mythic Plus. As soon as you get done, maybe even before, this is just my opinion. I'm gonna go do the normal raid before I go and do Mythic Plus. Highly recommend going and running Mythic Plus to get I-229 gear. It is capped this week. You can only get I-229 gear from running 10s. If you run a 15, it's gonna drop you the same I-229 gear. So don't expect to get higher for running higher keys than a 10. 10 is where it caps out this week. They don't want people to get overgeared for Mythic progression, which makes sense, I-252 gear is going to drop from the 5th. If you do, you can still run a 15, but don't expect you're going to get Mythic. You're going to get I-229 gear from the 15. Whereas next week the Great Vault is going to change, and you will actually. It is worth running a 15 this week to get the I-252 gear, and you don't have to time it. You just have to complete it. And I-252 gear is what you're going to be wanting to put those sockets that you've been saving up for. With the Archivist Codex rep, you're going to want to put that on your I-252 gear. So I definitely recommend running at least one Mythic 15. You get 10 runs will get you 3 pieces to choose from. So it might be worth it to you to run it 10 times. That's a lot of 15 runs. And they're going to be very difficult this week because everybody's going to be a little undergeared. But definitely run those Mythic Plus 10s, get that 229 gear. It should be upgradable with Valor, so keep that in mind. I'm not sure how much Valor is going to be capped at this week, but any Valor that you have from the last season is going to be transferred. They're going to pay you gold for it, and it's going to go back to 0, so don't expect to be able to use that to upgrade your gear this week. But obviously, stronger weapons, stronger trinkets. You're going to get any of those trinkets that you were running. IQD, a lot of classes were running IQD. That's going to go up. I-229 base, you can upgrade it. So keep that in mind. And let's move on to the final thing you should be doing. And I say final because Torghast Tower of the Damned is having Layer 10 open this week. And you can get more Soul Ash and more Soul Cinders. But what you cannot do is upgrade your Lego, your Legendary, to rank 5 or rank 6 this week, unfortunately. And that's because the Soul Cinders that you get, if you maxed out last week and you max out this week, it's still not going to be quite enough to get you the rank 5 Lego, which requires, I think 1,150 Soul Cinders. We got 270 the first week. I believe we're going to get 500, 400 this week. So, you're going to be around the 600 range. Week 3 is started week 3. That's when you're going to be able to upgrade your Legendary to rank 3. It's going to come with a free socket when you upgrade, so that's already going to be taken care of. That's extra damage. And so that's why I'm saying leave this for last. It's not really worth it unless you plan on min-maxing and getting it out of the way first. But there are better things to do with your time, so don't go do this right away. If I could give you one piece of advice, go do anything else besides Torghast and come back to this. When you have nothing else to do, you've already finished the dungeons, you finished the raid, you finished your N+ for the week. Go do this last. This is your last thing you want to do. It'll always be there. You'll always find teams, but you're not getting any real upgrades, any real power from this. So leave that for last. One thing to note though, Emerald Vaults is opening up this week. So while I say leave it for last, it depends. There is a possibility that Emerald Vaults, which if you don't know, basically Torghast has now come out with this talent tree system where you can get upgrades for your gear and or not for your gear, I'm sorry, upgrades for your experience in Torghast. So that might be like a 5% haste buff whenever you use the special ability now, or it'll automatically loot things for you. Well, one of those talent trees is in Unlocked the Emerald Vaults. If you get a perfect score, it might be 4-star, it's definitely 5-star. If you get a 5-star score, you can go to a 6th and 7th floor of that Torghast run called the Emerald Vaults, where you can loot things like Stygia, you can loot things like cosmetics, transmog gear, things like that, all going to be in the Emerald Vaults. But there's a possibility, and a lot of people have been wondering, if sockets are going to be included. We believe they were included on the PTR, which has led people to believe that they're going to be included in the live game. Now, it's not guaranteed by any means. It's not guaranteed. But if it is, this may be one of the best way to farm sockets for your gear, which is going to mean Torghast is actually worth running over and over and over, not just for the Soul Ash, but for the sockets. And you're going to want to get a good team, and it's going to be kind of competitive. It's going to be like M+, where you put together the highest IO team. Torghast is going to be like that. You're going to want to get people who can get you a 5-star rating altogether, So, worth considering that Emerald Vaults opens up next week. You can finally buy it. Might just be a place that you can get your sockets. So with that all being said, this is the order that I believe is the most optimal for Shadowlands Chains of Domination. Chapter 3 of the Korthian Campaign, the Veld Market, Sanctum of Domination, and then Mythic Plus, and then Torghast at the end. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening, even if you only listen for a minute. I really, really appreciate, honestly, just any of your time. This is always my dream to make YouTube content. It's a blast to do, and while it's probably unrealistic that this will ever take off, I just really enjoy doing it. So thank you very much if you made it this far for listening. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or like or comment. Every YouTuber ever does that. But thank you. Thank you very much for listening to the end of this video. Hope you have a wonderful day, and peace out.